welcome back and welcome back, Byron Ferguson. Thank you so much to be in our show, and welcome, Peter.
Hello, Byron. Hello, Armin. Nice to meet you, and a big honor to have Byron with us.
Oh yes, it's such a pleasure to meet you in person. Ooh. I'm really
My pleasure.
Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Good.
Guess you had a hard time in business with this, virus and so on in the United States.
Yeah, last year business was non-existent. We didn't do anything.
Yeah, same here.
This year it's kind of a little here, a little there, depending on the state. We've had 2 cancellations already this year. That's better than all canceled like last year.
Yeah.
But Alabama is open so far. Like
Alabama opened up about 2 weeks ago. There's no mask mandates, none of that anymore. And I'll be going to Texas, and they're open, of course. I'll be out there in June.
So, that's great. That's great. Florida was never closed. I saw, no. Florida, I say, was never closed. It was always open, no.
I will be in Florida first before Texas. I'll be in Florida. I'll be after Texas. I go to Florida.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. That's nice.
Yeah, and good Republican governors.
Yeah. It depends on what governor rules in the states. I know.
And if you can bribe him, or if he can deal with pressure. Today we have an honorable guest here, and we are a bit limited in time, so we should go into the topic, I think, if you agree.
Okay. Otherwise, so we're in trouble talking politics.
Yeah.
They may ban us from the internet or something.
It's always damaging. Always does damage. So we start. Byron, we want to ask you, or I want to ask you, how you, when you really got started in archery, at what age, and how you got into that idea to use a bow and an arrow to shoot with it.
I got started in archery because of hunting whitetail deer. My father let me go with him hunting, and it was fascinating to me, the whitetail deer. They were almost a mystical animal, And then I found out that I could hunt them a whole month earlier with bow and arrow than with the gun. So I got into archery. That's when I was 10 years old. When I was 12 years old, I got a job as a brick mason's helper one summer to earn the money to buy my first bow. To that point, I was borrowing bows from relatives and neighbors. And then at 12, I bought my own bow.
But it was a recurve bow, I read, right? So your first bow was then a recurve bow, your first own bow.
The first bow was a Browning Wasp recurve bow.
Oh, nice.
The local Western Auto store, which is a general merchandise type store. And, they made me pay for it in full up front before they would order it.
What's the poundage of this bow?
55 pounds.
Okay.
You see,
something for men, yeah, of course. 12 euros and shooting a 55-pound bow. Oh, nice.
I didn't say I could shoot it well.
Yeah, okay. So something's changed then until nice. Okay. Good.
Yes. So when you basically you went out hunting with that bow, and that was the cause for starting archery, because bow season is 1 month earlier than rifle season.
That is correct. That's what got me into it. Now, what got me started into the archery exhibition, actually earning money to shoot the bow and arrow. A friend of mine who ran an archery shop and I were looking at a piece of property in southern Alabama that we were considering renting for hunting with bow and arrow. And on the way back to the truck, there was a rattlesnake that was crawling across the road, a dirt road. And I pulled an arrow and shot the snake through the head. And thought I'd saved his life, because he was just tremendously afraid of snakes,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a poisonous snake. So anyway, Jimmy had Lakes Archery only about 2 miles from my home. So he invited me to come down and shoot the longbow for people at his jamboree that he would have 2 weeks prior to opening of bow season. Man, that'd be fun, sure. So I went down and shot the bow for the people, and actually had a good time doing it. Everybody had a good time watching, and I had a good time shooting.
Mm-hmm.
But there was one of the fellows there that was a representative of the archery industry. And he told everyone he saw that he came in contact with what he saw me do that Saturday. And before I know it, I'm getting a phone call from a guy up in Waukesha, Wisconsin, at Buck Rub Archery, asking me to come to Wisconsin to shoot the bow and arrow. And I'm thinking, that's all, yeah, from Alabama to Wisconsin is a long way. It's like a 12-hour drive by car.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I don't know about this. And the guy finally told me, he said, if you will agree to do it, I will buy you and your wife round trip airfare. I'll put you up in a nice hotel, and I will pay you. Back up. You said you would give me money to shoot the bow and arrow?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sign me up. I'll be there.
Of course, yeah, nice, cool.
So that's how that all started.
Mm-hmm.
And in these days, you already shot the longbow.
Yes.
How you switched to the longbow?
It's when I learned
Why?
about a fellow Alabamian named Howard Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we heard about him.
We know him. So,
He only lives about 80 miles from me.
mm-hmm.
And I just became infatuated with reading about what he could do with the bow and arrow.
Mm-hmm.
And I started trying to mimic what he was doing. I mean, I bought magazine articles and books and videotapes, and so I could see this guy shoot.
Mm-hmm.
And I started trying to mimic what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And after a while, I realized that I could shoot pretty well if I did what he did.
Mm-hmm.
And then later, I was practicing, still trying to learn Mr. Hill's method that he calls split vision aiming.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed I was shooting way better than I was actually capable of shooting at the time. So I started analyzing to see what I was doing different today that I didn't do yesterday. And I finally realized I was putting more concentration on the target.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, shooting Mr. Hill's method, you split 50-50, 50% target, 50% on the arrow, trying to aim the actual arrow. The way I shoot is 90% on target, only 10% on aiming the arrow.
Okay. That is directly one of my questions I had later. Thank you very much, because that's very important, I think, for many people to know.
That works a lot better for me.
Mm-hmm.
Byron, in my opinion, Mr. Hill was able to do this stage work, these shots he did on stage without any kind of point of aim or so. I think he could do it naturally. You know what I mean? I think he only used this split vision method with difficult long shots and so on. Would you agree?
I had the great pleasure of having dinner with a guy named Dale Marcy. Dale was Howard Hill's assistant.
Mm-hmm.
The last 4 years he toured giving exhibition. In 4 years, the routine was the last shot would be a dime.
Mm-hmm.
They would flip a dime up in front of the backstop, and Mr. Hill would shoot the dime. But he would always miss it the first shot, always.
Mm-hmm.
Because Dale was bald head. No, like Henry Bodnick says he's naked. He has a naked head, no hair. So Mr. Hill had a big powder puff, and he would powder the top of Dale's head because the glare off of that bald head is what caused him to miss.
Mm-hmm.
What he had done, he had taken away his excuse to miss.
Mm-hmm.
He never missed it the second time. He always hit it the second shot.
Oh, okay.
So Dale asked him over dinner, I said, how in the world do you do that? You always hit it when you're supposed to hit it. He's one of the things, he's pretty hard to miss. This thing's big as a basketball.
Mm-hmm.
This is how Howard Hill, he had the ability to focus and concentrate so hard that the target became bigger.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it one time in my whole life, as much as I've shot, one time. It was just a normal practice session out in my backyard here in Alabama. I had a little machine that I used to toss aspirins. And I've been shooting probably 15 minutes. It wasn't nothing extraordinary. But one of those aspirins came off and it came up. That's what he was talking about. That's it. I mean, this thing's so big, you can't miss it. It's huge. But I can't do it every time. He had the ability to do it on demand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
If I could, I wouldn't miss as much as I do.
Yeah, but when you demand like shooting this diamond ring, you could do it in this show.
Well, shooting through the diamond ring was the first one. Of course, I thought was impossible. I didn't think I could do it. But with some practice and tuning, practicing, I found out that I could do it. So anymore, it's not that hard of a shot to do because I already know that I can do it.
Yeah.
Once you have accomplished a shot and proven to yourself that it is possible to do it, it becomes easier.
I understand.
Like shooting aspirin tablets. Part I thought that was impossible too. Once I did it, I said, well, I guess I can do that. So I've done it hundreds and thousands of times now. What's hard is to do it on demand. Yeah.
I quote you quite often. I always say, Byron Ferguson is what I can see, I can hit. So no matter the size, even if it's an aspirin, he can see it, he can hit it. So don't tell me that he can't hit the center on the target. Yeah.
The center, correct.
Nice.
That's I've had a lot of fun with that over the years.
Yeah, I can imagine. How often do you train, or do you still train, or how often did you train every day, and how many arrows did you shoot every day? Or
okay, well, when I first started, as a young man, it was every day, 7 days a week, year round, rain or shine.
Yeah.
About 15 years ago, I started developing like tarsal tunnel where my arm would just go to sleep. It would just go numb from all the repetition of pulling the bowstring. So I had to stop shooting so much. Now I shoot every other day. Not every day, but every other day.
Okay.
I break my practice sessions up into four different segments. And I'll shoot about 30 minutes per segment. 30 minutes now, take a break, do this, mow the grass, do whatever I got to do, come back, another 30. That's in the morning and afternoon, do the same thing. There's breaks between the 30-minute practice sessions.
Okay.
To me, that's a lot more helpful to me to do it like that rather than the marathon.
Yeah, of course, it helps better when you train every day 15 minutes and one time in a week for 2 hours. You get more out of it when you stay in your regularity. Yeah, that's cool.
You get tired, you can't control the bow anymore. So you just
start from scratch again. Yeah.
Oh, Peter's heard me refer to it as poking and hoping.
Yeah. Poking and hoping. Nice. Yeah. We still talk about archery, right? Okay, good. Since I know Peter, we have to, this is yeah, nice.
And I also want to ask you, you said 1,000 times you shot the aspirin and so on. How many shows do you gave in your career, or television appearances? You're able to, you counted it?
Yeah, I never have actually sat down and tried to calculate how many shows I've done. Thousands and thousands. I've shot just about in every country in Europe, most of North America. I've shot on just about every major television network in the world. Not all, but most. I've hosted television shows here in the States. I've done live exhibitions, which I still do some. Not as much as I once did, but I still do live exhibitions just to let people know I'm not dead yet. So to answer your question, Peter, I don't know exactly, but it would be thousands.
I think once you told me in good times you did 100 live shows a year, approximately. No?
Yeah, I do. There's a difference in terminology. Some exhibition shooters refer to each individual exhibition as a show.
Yeah. And you count the shows, not
When
the
I say
fairs.
show, I'm talking about a 3 to 5 day event is one show.
Yeah. I understand. But I think television is dead. No, nothing.
No,
With
television.
It's gone. Yeah.
It's just the outdoor TV market is it's just pretty much dead. YouTube is way bigger than TV.
All the money goes into online business. Yeah. And another question: what was you also do archery lessons? You have an archery school at Mike Goodman's ranch, if it's still the same. Who was your most famous student there? Do you had some celebrities or?
Well, we've had some celebrities, but my most famous student was not at the ranch, but I had to go to him, and that was Don Johnson, the actor, Miami Vice. Yeah, I went to his ranch in Colorado and worked with him out there.
Nice.
It didn't hurt to be on the 5,000 acre ranch that had elk and mule deer all over it. I went to his elk for a while.
Don Johnson wanted to learn archery to hunt, not for a movie or so.
No, it was because Don's best friend was Dickie Betts from the Allman Brothers Band, guitarist.
Yeah.
Who was also
a friend of your,
one of my friends. So that's how that all came about. I want to shoot the bow and arrow for he could be part of the group and hang out with us.
I understand. Are you still out hunting at Mike's place?
Some, not as much. I'm moved back here to Alabama now for most of my hunting. The only thing I'm interested in anymore is the white-tailed deer. So I got burned out on traveling and trying to take animals to please other people. Now I take animals to please myself.
Yeah.
But Mike is doing well, yes?
Yes,
Mike. I sent him best greets. If you see him, tell him, please.
Okay, good.
I don't know him, but best greetings from me too.
He's a great guy.
Obviously. I think they're well selected, your friends.
I'll be seeing Mike in a couple of weeks, so
or
at least talking to him.
So Byron, so take one for me.
Hey.
with Mike.
It's a little early here.
It's late.
So now you hunt only for your own family, so to say, that you feed your own family, not for the pleasure of others anymore.
And that's thank God we had a lot of venison in the freezer last year with all the COVID stuff. The supermarkets around here were bare. There was no food, and so if you didn't have a freezer, you were in trouble.
Yeah, of course. Well,
and so you have an area in Alabama, or you hunt on state land with a license?
I have some private ground that
private ground. Okay.
I rent for hunting.
Are there also wild boar, hogs also?
And not here. They're further south.
Okay.
I had a lease that had wild boar on it, and they had so many wild boar on it. I quit. It's too much trouble.
Okay.
You don't want wild boar. I mean, you want a friend with a place with wild boar, not your place.
So the main game is whitetail.
Whitetail deer, yes.
Nice.
One of the things I've been working on, Peter, you'd be interested in, and I found I was quite disappointed in trying to learn anything about this thing that's called target panic. And it seemed like every time I would try to get something, some information, people were trying to sell me stuff. Want me to pay this, buy this thing. You can't buy your way out of target panic, number one. But I was not being told the truth about it. I was being told that target panic was nothing more than the fear of missing. So therefore it was self-perpetuating. And that is part of it. But there's another part of it. It's both physical and mental. You have to treat both parts to overcome target panic. And to help the people that may be watching this, first, tune your equipment. This is important. You have to have full confidence in that the arrow will go to exactly where you have it aimed. So if you miss, it was not the equipment, it was you. Okay. Then number two, that's when you work on your part, whatever, but the mental aspect of it. And the only way you're going to overcome a target panic is to blend everything back together. Okay. The equipment is perfect. Your form is good. You blend it back together. And I found to actually practice the shot is immensely important. In other words, before you shoot, I've always talked about visualization and how important that is in making the shot. But to actually practice a shot where you actually load the arrow on the string and draw the arrow back and then visualize what you're going to do next. Extremely important. I hope that will help the guys out there that's been fighting it like I have for the last few years. And
you had trouble with it?
Oh,
you
yes.
had trouble?
Peter, this is the truth. You either have had target panic in the past and have beat it, you're currently struggling with it, or you will have it in the future. That's it.
One day it will catch you.
You are a good shot. You guys are good shots. You will experience it 100%, no doubt.
Okay.
If you don't care, if you're not a good shot, you don't care, you'll never want to be a good shot. You're just going to play and fling arrows. You'll never have it. Only those that are good shots and are trying to get better will experience it.
I always had the opinion it's also connected to a little overtraining, over-exercising, maybe shooting too much. You know what I mean?
Yes, could be part of it, yes. In my case, what would happen to me is stationary targets, no problem. No problem. Aerial targets, as long as they're big, no problem. But when you start getting small, then we start having issues. And what I was doing when I would start my draw, I'd have the arrow level, but under the target. And when I would come up, my thumb would touch my anchor point and trigger the release. Okay? This is part of the physical aspect that I talked about. All I had to do was start with the nose of the arrow, the point of the arrow low, not flat, low, okay? And draw up into my release. And now my thumb never touches and it triggers. So as long as I swing it up like this, I hit backer, everything's good.
Okay. Interesting. Well.
Yeah.
So target panic.
It's a lot of, I've called it a lot of different things, but interesting was one of them.
Okay.
So frustrating until you have extra experience. And I know there's a lot of people watching this and have experience. You know what you're doing, but you do it anyway. You can't stop yourself. That's the mental side.
Interesting.
And of course, your tip with the tackle is the basics. You have to be confident in your tackle. If you don't know everything is okay, you have not a keen mind, and so you can't hit.
No, you're guessing. You're wondering what happened. What happened? Did I do that, or was it something else? You've got to know everything. This is all good. Then you can actually correct it.
I mean, it's always very easy. I have some archers here, they shoot good, and the one day they shoot bad. And I said, listen, give me your bow. I shoot 3 arrows. Now my spirit is in, now shoot again. and all of a sudden he shoots better because it's up there. It's not the bow. Mm.
That's also why I always tell beginners not to use different and cheap arrows, because if you don't have really good arrows which are very the same and similar, you don't know why you miss and why you hit and so on.
That's exactly correct. That's why Howard Hill's, one of his famous statements was, anyone can miss once.
Mm-hmm.
No one should ever miss twice.
Exactly.
So if you've got the right arrows, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
If your arrows are not matched and they're all over the book, then you miss and you don't know if it was you or the arrow.
Mm-hmm. And you don't give your brain any chance to learn something from out of your shooting.
Correct.
That's also because I tell beginners not to start with 3D archery ranges, courses, because it's the same thing. It's dark, it's sunny, it's uphill and downhill, and they don't know why they hit or why they miss. And so, in my opinion, to start with archery, you have to be on a plain field and with kind of clinical circumstances.
I agree.
Thank you.
and start short distance until you shoot groups. That's at least our opinion here. That we.
Yeah.
I mean, when you have a public archery range, we start with 10 meters. They get relatively quickly there. When you explain how they point, most of them still aim over the arrow, shoot to high first. But when you hear it click in the brain and then they got it, then they point there and they shoot, and then it's fine, even 10 meters. But I would even go shorter distance. But you always have to find the balance when you have this business between entertainment and education. So that's why we 10 meters. So then is this become the arrow? What's the meaning? This that you see the arrow already flying to the target, visualizing? Is this become the arrow?
Complete and total confidence in the arrow. It actually comes again from Mr. Howard Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Through the course of my career, I've met a lot of people that knew Howard Hill personally and hunted with him, shot with him, worked with him, different things. I was in California, and we drove by this place every day, and just an old dilapidated building. I was going to a place called Vertigo Hills Archery Range. We were filming for the History Channel.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day, the president of the archery range there told me that building before we turned to go up to the range, that was Howard Hill's archery shop. Was his shop when he was in California. So, wow. So there was all these people started coming out that knew and Mr. Hill. One of them was a radio host.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd had Mr. Hill on his show several times. He said the most profound thing he'd ever heard him say was a kid called in and won't know how to become a better archer. He said, well, if you want to be a good archer, practice and practice and practice until the bow becomes an extension of you to be a good archer. If you want to be a great archer, practice until the arrow becomes an extension of you.
Mm-hmm.
Become the arrow.
Become the arrow.
That's where that comes from.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because the bow is the launching vehicle.
Yeah.
Just a device. Yeah.
Yeah. The arrow is the thing which hits, of course.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't take ammo, doesn't score points, just the arrow.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense, yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, cool.
Byron, you still offer and craft your Z-bows?
The Z-bows, well, that comes from Zachary, my youngest son, is where Z-bow came from. And Zachary has since quit building the Z-bows, and he got a really good job. So he makes
a great bow, nice bow. And
I still build the bows. I don't call them Z-bows, but they're just the same bow, made in the same forms in the same shop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Everything's exactly the same except what I write on them.
Okay. Yeah. And once you said a good thing, because depending on takedown bows, because shipping today is so expensive, a longbow shipping. So Byron said, put this $100, I don't know how much you charge, and buy a takedown bow. So shipping is not expensive. It's cheap.
It's just half price. You pay for the cost of the takedown with one shipment.
Yeah.
It's like one trip on the airline because they charge you $100 each way.
Yeah. So it's not a bad idea.
One trip, you got $200 in it.
Wow.
Look, Armin, what I have here.
What's
An
that?
arrow from Byron where he split the knock.
Ooh, he did a Robin Hood.
Yeah.
We should not call it Robin Hood anymore. We should call it, he did a Byron Ferguson. He did a Byron Ferguson.
One of many of my mistakes.
Yeah.
You see, it only counts if you try to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is what I always say. There's another archery range here in Malta, and they shoot then, we only train with 3 arrows each round. And they shoot whatever, 20, 30 arrows in one small target, and then, hey, I have a Robin Hood. Said, yeah, that's not a big thing. When you have 2 arrows, you shoot the first in a target, and the second one hits the first one, then it's a real Robin Hood. Otherwise, accident.
The first one has to be in the center of the target.
Okay, yes, of course.
If you hit it, then it's a Robin Hood.
Yeah, there is only the center of the target.
True, Mr. Byron. I think so.
That's true.
Of course. Nice.
When it really gets hard to do the Robin Hood, it's when you have a TV camera on you.
Yeah.
Like 8 or 10 people standing around, twiddling their thumbs.
Yeah.
Okay, we're ready. Go ahead, hit it now. Come on.
So this mental pressure is higher when you have another TV show than when you go hunting. So you're more relaxed when you go hunting. So this adrenaline and doesn't affect you that much in hunting.
How much experience you've had with it.
Okay.
When I first started, I called the TV camera a one-eyed monster. Scared to death. Not so much anymore. But I found out these guys are just people like everybody else.
Yep.
Okay.
And in most cases, they have no idea if it's difficult or it's not difficult to hit. They just say, go on, do it. And so
They have no idea exactly. I've had people. I had the Arrow church, Arrow, wanted me to come to Vienna, fly to Vienna, get off the airplane, go to the venue. Their president of their company is going to hold a playing card up in his hand. When he shoots the playing card out of his hand, like at 30 meters away, and turn around, go back, get on the airplane, come home. No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
crazy.
People don't, they don't understand.
Yeah.
And they have no idea about the danger, how devastating an arrow is. They have no idea.
Oh, they see you shoot on television and they think, well, this guy hits it every time.
Yeah, exactly.
I do on TV. I get to do the editing.
Byron, I have another question because, you're in archery. So what is your favorite archery related movie or television show or something connected to archery?
Well, I guess my favorite movie would be Timbo.
Tempo. Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's funny to watch it now to see all the shenanigans they were pulling that we would get crucified for now.
Yeah, today you couldn't do this movie. Never.
Some of this, the Kevin Costner's Robin Hood is a pretty good movie. Prince of Thieves. But from then on, the latest Robin Hood movies has just very little to do with archery.
Yeah.
Like,
My favorite still is the old one with Errol Flynn, because it's like the fairy tale it should be. In my opinion, the Kevin Costner is making too much fun about, with the sheriff and the witch and so on. I really like this old one, and also because it's connected to Mr. Hill, because he did the shots. Great.
But times change, and the audience is changing, and I don't know. These traditionalists they see this Green Arrow series or whatever. They forced me to watch it, and after 3 episodes, I had to stop because I can't bear this actor. And he was like, "You failed." Yeah, I was like, "Yeah, no, I don't watch this." But people like it. And on the other side, one has to see that even these modern movies like this Hunger Games, they brought us as an archery range owner a lot of business. Because all the girlies next day, all the girlies came, "Oh, I want to shoot like Katniss Everdeen."
All the communists liked it.
Yeah.
Favorite TV show I've ever done was Stan Lee's Superhuman.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
Mhm.
That one.
At the end of it, Stan Lee declared me to be the real Hawkeye.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I
Great
obviously.
episode.
Badge of honor, you know.
Mhm.
So I'm doing a show for a Boy Scout troop.
Mhm.
And at the end of the show, we do a question and answer session.
Mhm.
And one of the kids said, "Mr. Ferguson, is it true that you played Hawkeye in the movie?" I said, "No, son. I am Hawkeye."
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, that's fun.
Of course.
You know, I wonder when they start to ban lots of old movies, because last time I saw an old John Wayne movie, and he took the woman on his knees and spanked her ass because she was talking bad and crazy, and he spanked her ass and so on. So today you couldn't do movies like that.
I wouldn't try that. No, I wouldn't try that one.
No.
Yeah, gets difficult. Yeah, I said people change or culture is changing. So, and the movie industry, either they force it or they have to adapt to this change. So, one of each.
You know that was very funny. John Wayne bent this woman over and like to spank her ass, and the guy gave him a little shovel to spank her.
More fun. This is how I know it. When my mom put me over the knees, she used her cooking spoon for that. Yeah, especially painful.
Yeah.
Mm.
So
Sure.
Byron, how about hunting knives? You know, we have a lot of martial art viewers and so on. And do you have any favorite hunting knife? Because a good archer always needs a knife, even if he's not hunting.
Of course, the wild steer there in France makes the Byron Ferguson skinning knife, which is extremely good. And
I got one.
You just so happen to have one. Eh?
I got one.
Mm.
You ever seen it, Armin?
Yes, I saw it once. I saw it there, but I never saw it in real. And
Well,
here in Malta, you are not allowed to have a knife which is longer than, or the blade longer than this. So it's always a hassle here.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have it, but you can't carry it around.
Byron, you don't know how happy you can be in the United States because of your arm laws and so on.
Yeah.
You're so restricted here. It's horrible.
Yeah, I've encountered some of your, been Holland, I think, where there was the worst, where you weren't even allowed to have sharpened arrowheads, like broadheads. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to do? Go on a rampage and, declare war on Holland with my bow? I mean, come on.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. Here in Malta, when you want to shoot a bow heavier than 60 pounds, you need to have a gun license. Otherwise, you don't get. So officially, you can't shoot it.
No, it's so crazy.
It's like it is.
Byron, another question. Do you have one exciting bow hunting adventure or your most thrilling bow hunting situation? Because I know you're a big hunter, which is short to tell, a nice story.
Well, it's one of my favorite memories would be a moose hunt up in Newfoundland, Canada, where I was invited to come up, and the province paid for my license, and Horace Lane at River Run Outfitters gave me the hunt to come up and try to kill a moose with my bow and arrow. And the third day I was successful and got a bull moose with my bow, one shot, clean kill. And
Wow.
Horace then told me that they had 5 famous bow hunters from the States that they'd done the same thing for. That the province gave them their licenses and he had come to hunts. All 5 of them shot moose, none of them recovered them.
Mm-hmm.
If I had not recovered that moose, they were going to ban bow hunting in Newfoundland.
Oh,
Well, thank you for not telling me till after I shot.
Yeah.
He prevented you from buck fever because
Exactly.
he didn't tell it, no?
That's
So you
correct.
weren't nervous.
We'd already recovered the moose before he said anything about it. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I was a hero. So I mean, I went downtown and did radio interviews and newspaper
Right.
interviews, and some of the older guys that was there at the grocery. They had a table where all the old guys hung out and drank coffee and smoked cigarettes, and
Mm-hmm.
and I went in there and they was talking to Horace. I said, I understand there's a guy that shot a moose with a bow and arrow. Hey, he said, yeah, this is him right here. And oh boy, I was the king of the table for a little while.
Nice. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So they still bow hunt moose there because you got that one.
You can bow hunt there, but,
Good job.
they wanted me to help write the regulations of what equipment would be required, but after I said the first thing is you have a Byron Ferguson longbow, and they can't do that.
Yeah. Really.
What most people don't know, Byron is not just a good archer, he's also a good businessman.
Mm-hmm. Of course. Nice. Mm-hmm. Nice story. What would you tell? A question from my side because my channel is more for the starters or beginners in archery. What would your advice be for someone who wants to start now, has no idea, or watched the movie and so, oh, I want to start with archery? What would your advice, your favorite words for him?
Number one, do not get a bow that's too heavy for you.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure the bow is easy for you to control.
Yeah.
You should be able to hold it for about 15, 20 seconds at least without starting to shake.
Mm-hmm.
Then, as far as shooting, like Peter's already mentioned, get good arrows.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go down to Walmart and get them out of a 5-gallon bucket.
Mm-hmm.
Get good arrows. And then, as far as the shooting aspects, there's 2 main things to remember. Number one, draw the string until the elbow is back in line with the target.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, hold the bow on target until the arrow hits.
Mm-hmm.
Do those 2 things, you eliminate right and left misses. All you have to worry about is your bird.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Perfect.
Very simple. Sounds very simple.
Thank you very much. It is simple, but it's a way to go. Yeah. Yeah. The problem, or what I experienced, that people here have no idea of their own body. So you tell them, listen, your shoulder is up over the. No, it's not. And you push it. Oh, this is my shoulder down. Okay, now I understand. So they have. Or I think it's a common thing that simply this body awareness is a little, or gotten lost a little, so they have a little trouble with this. But yeah, interesting. Yeah.
It's hard for any of us to see our own body. You know?
Yeah.
I've actually asked guys to videotape themselves shooting.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We said this in the last show. It's very, very helpful to videotape yourself. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Thank you for your famous words.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
I see Mrs. Wanda is busy in the background.
Yeah. She went this morning and sat with my mother in the hospital. So
Okay.
Taking care of her down there. So I'm going to have to cut out pretty quick and get down there myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we should come to an end that we don't stop you for longer for.
Yep.
Even if it's a pleasure and nice to have you here, and I think we could talk the whole night, but At least here it's almost night. You're not, of course, it's a little early for you.
Yeah.
But of course, we should come to an end and that you can go to the hospital.
I really appreciate that you were here.
Yes.
You talked to us.
My pleasure. We'll do it again.
Thank you, Byron.
Mm.
And we will invite you again if you like so.
Sure.
And you know, Byron, you can upload this clip also to your channel.
Okay.
We will send it to you, and you can upload it. And let's see what turns out. No.
Mm.
Okay. Sure.
Perfect.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Great.
thank you very much. It was really a pleasure to have you and to meet you and to talk to you. You are one of my heroes. You know that.
One of
Thank
mine
you.
too.
Yeah.
I'm a legend in my own mind.
Oh yeah. But even in my mind, you are. So don't worry.
You
So
are.
really too.
You are.
All right, guys.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Thank you very much.
All
Have
the
fun.
best wishes to the folks we know.
I
Exactly.
will.
Thank you,
guys.
Byron. Thank you.
Thank you
Byron.
very much, Byron.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.